Hey everyone, welcome to the Hollow Voices channel. I'm the Hollow Voice, and today I've got another dark and mysterious story for you. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this video with friends who love a good tale. And remember, all the stories you hear here are written by me, carefully crafted to take you into a world full of suspense and mystery. Now, to get the best experience, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let yourself be carried away by the sounds and words. Every detail is designed for you to fully immerse in the atmosphere of the story. So sit back, relax, and get lost in the Hollow Voices. The need to escape the chaos of the city had become overwhelming, but that wasn't the only problem we were facing. Financially, things were falling apart. My job barely covered our expenses, and ever since my wife gave birth a year ago, she hadn't been able to fully recover her work rhythm. Her company wasn't exactly supportive. They made her return to full pay almost impossible. So for many reasons, we decided to leave the city behind and move somewhere quieter. We found a small town with just under 30,000 inhabitants. It wasn't large. We were used to more noise, more movement, more everything. But here, everything was close. The streets were peaceful. Life moved slowly. We found a modest 2-bedroom apartment, one room for us and the baby, and the other for our home office. The landlord, as it turned out, owned almost the entire building. Rent was affordable, and our particular unit was even cheaper than the others. The reason? Simple. Every previous tenant had complained about the neighbor. He was too friendly, overly extroverted, and at times uncomfortably invasive. But to us, it didn't sound like a big deal. We worked from home, barely socialized. We assumed we wouldn't see much of him. We accepted the offer and moved in within 2 days. We bought most things new. It wasn't worth bringing too much from the city. On the first day the packages started arriving, the neighbor, let's call him George, stepped out of his door, visibly curious, and greeted us like we were long-lost friends. He didn't seem threatening, but something about him felt off. We exchanged first names, and he offered to help carry things inside. We declined, politely but firmly. We preferred to do it on our own. We set up the rooms ourselves, with a little help from our baby. Zuri, our 3-year-old cat, was a nervous wreck. She kept hiding, wide-eyed, staring at the front door. But we thought it was normal. New smells, new sounds, and delivery boxes every day. One of the first nights while I slept, I felt Zuri jump up in a panic. Her gaze was fixed on the bedroom door. I looked in the same direction and saw the door slowly closing on its own. My heart skipped a beat. I got up, checked the crib. The baby was fine. I walked to the living room. Nothing, no movement, but the hallway light outside our apartment door was on. At 4 a.m., who else was awake? I went back to bed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been watching us. 3 months passed. Things slowly started falling into place. My wife returned to work full-time, and I picked up 2 part-time jobs while deciding on a more permanent path. We barely saw George anymore, perhaps because we rarely left the apartment. But when we did cross paths, he was always polite. Almost too polite. He complimented our clothes. Our baby, always with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. One day we had to step out. As we opened our door, George happened to be walking toward his. He was unusually close to ours. We greeted him briefly and went on our way. When we returned, he opened his door, smiled, and said, "Your cat is lovely. I think she missed you." We smiled awkwardly and stepped inside. Zuri was by the front door, frozen, staring at the hallway. We figured she had heard us come in, but her body was completely still. Not excited, petrified. Only after we passed did she start to move again. That night in bed, my wife asked me, "Has George ever seen Zuri?" I paused. My heart thumped in my chest. No, never. We ran through every possibility, every innocent explanation, but none of them made sense. Eventually, we fell asleep. The next day, my wife went to a doctor's appointment. I overheard George greeting her as she left, complimenting her again. When she came home, she asked, "Did I wear anything with designs yesterday?" I shook my head. We'd mostly been wearing plain formal clothes when outside. Nothing stood out. She changed into her usual home clothes, a comfy shirt with Star Wars characters printed across the front. That's when it hit me. George had described that shirt. He knew details he couldn't have possibly seen, unless he had seen us. Inside the apartment, I rushed to the door. Zuri was already there, staring at the gap beneath it. I caught a fleeting shadow moving away. I looked through the peephole and saw a shadow disappear around the corner. I pressed my face to the door to get a better look, and then a giant eye filled the peephole. Not just visible, magnified. It shouldn't have looked like that from the outside. I backed away, breath frozen, opened the door. George was speed walking down the hallway, ignoring me completely. Something was terribly wrong. When I looked again through the peephole from the inside, I could see my entire living room. Zuri on the floor. My wife, wearing the exact shirt George had commented on. The peephole was inverted. George had been watching us. Daily, intimately, invisibly. We called the police immediately. The landlord granted them access to George's apartment. He wasn't there. But what we found chilled our blood. His living room was covered in corkboards, one for each apartment door, each with photos. Names, schedules, medical info, deliveries, habits, details no one should ever know. On the table, a small metal safe. Inside, dozens of keys, each labeled with apartment numbers. George had access to all the homes. He had been inside ours. We changed our locks, replaced the door, installed cameras. But the truth is, George was never seen again. Not by us, not by anyone in the building. And for months, we didn't sleep well. We didn't feel safe. We lived in the shadow of what could have happened and what might still be out there. Watching. Thank you for watching this story on Hollow Voices. If you enjoyed the experience, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this video with someone who enjoys dark and mysterious tales. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what kind of stories or themes you'd like to hear next. Your ideas help shape the future of this channel. And once again, thank you for listening. Your presence here means everything. Until next time, stay in the shadows.